Hi. You are welcome to week 5 of the home care assistant program, and this we are still looking at the topic human growth and development. And today this week we are going to look at adulthood, and we're also going to look at some of the changes that do occur when one grows, when one becomes old. So these are the two main things that we are going to look at this week. I hope and I believe strongly that you are going to enjoy this week's lecture. Adulthood actually signals that time in an individual's life when choice and more control over one's life typically occur. So now in adults, when you become an adult, you end up managing your own things, your own affairs, and your choices, and you have full control over your life. And it's often thought as having distinct stages, even though it's right from 18 years up to death, you are seen as an adult, but we have some distinct stages. So we have young adults, we have mature adults, we have older adults, and we have the elderly. So young adults ranges from the age of 18 to 25, where the child has just entered tertiary, and they might end up getting unemployment at this very level. Mature adults, 25 50 years, most people end up marrying at this stage. They start a family, and they work on their career too. And older age, 55 to 75 years, and retirement retirement occurs around this age time. Your children also leave you around this time. By the time you even get 55 years, none of your children may be with you. You end up being with your spouse alone, and within this time to 55 to 75 years, you may be planning for your death. If not dead, or your spouse may leave you through death or something. So 55 to 75 years is also then 75 years and above. Those who cross that, so they at that age, you are the only thing you are planning for actively is your death. You are not planning to set up something new or do something so different, start a new family or something. But even though one or two people do, but these are the times you actually enjoy the life that you have lived, and you really enjoy the impact that you made here on earth, and the only thing you plan towards is your death, nothing more, nothing less. So for individuals with even though, let me add that some people have started significant things or made some significant impact after their 75 years of life. Just to let you know that even our president is, I think, within the 75 years. So you can see that you can still be active and be making significant impact even with 75 years. After 75 years. So for individuals with disabling conditions, the event that mark these stages and transition from stage to stage may differ from general public. Those with challenges, physical disabilities, mental disabilities, emotional disabilities, they may not be able to go through, as I have said, entering tertiary, marrying, working on your career, planning for your retirement, children leaving you. Those with disabilities, they may not even end up in tertiary. They may not even marry. They may not even give birth. Those with disabilities. So a lot of things. So much attention must be given to individuals within this age. Individuals within this age group that are having disabilities. Let's look at young adults. Young adults, where the individual is entering school, tertiary, studying a career, and also starting a career, and planning towards marriage. So let's look at some of the things that, in case you are taking care of someone, or you are around someone within this age, how a person who will be within this age that will require a caregiver will be someone with a disability, probably some mental disability, some physical disability, you see, blind, deaf, hands being chopped off or something, some diseases causing that. So you should understand the difference. For the one that we talked about, we were focusing on a normal child, but for an adult who may need a caregiver, you will not expect a normal adult to need a caregiver, but one who may be having some challenges. So ensure that the individual participates as much as possible in making choices about all aspects of their lives. You should ensure that the individual participates in making correct choices about their life. Those who may having challenges here and there, and ensure high expectations are in place to increase both competence and self-esteem. Those who are not able to, because of a disability, may not be able to go through normal life stages. You should ensure that there are high expectations in place, so that it will increase both the person's competence and his self-esteem. Ensure that the individual experience wide range of opportunities that are appropriate for young adults. Ensure that these opportunities are inclusive as possible. Let them experience opportunities that are appropriate for the age. So for individual, probably if the person is blind or something and having vision problem, choosing schools that have provide some of these stages will be very, very helpful at this stage, so that the person does not get stuck in the room just because of a disability or because of something. So mature adults. So we're talking about 25 to 55 years here. So ensure that the individuals are pursuing personal interests. Like I said, anybody within some of this age, within this age group that may require a caregiver, will be someone that probably have a challenge somewhere. So ensure that any personal interest the person is having, the individual is pursuing it, and ensure that self-determination is guiding the person's life. Self-determination is determined to achieve whatever he wants to achieve. I've seen those who are wheelchair bound or crippled people becoming being able to be managers in a lot of firms. So you should encourage them to have self-determination, to be determined to pursue life dreams, and ensure that the individual control as much as possible their life as possible, regarding their relationship, vocation, their leisure. Ensure that they're able to participate in it and take full control. Yet encourage them to make some of these choices, no matter how challenged they are. Let's talk about older adults, where you're talking about a normal human being should think about, or someone who have gone through the developmental stages nicely, be thinking about retirement, planning for retirement, enjoy things that he has done. To ensure that retirement is not just a time for doing less of the same thing someone has always done, but retirement should be a time to initiate new activities. Let them plan for their retirement very well. Hobbies, travel, relationships, and the rest. Help them to plan for their retirement very, very well. As a caregiver, you may be taking care of someone who is challenged in some way, who need a caregiver to maintain activities of daily living, but will probably the person is crippled, the person is blind, deaf, dumb, probably, but they will need you to fully live, independently, to help them to plan some of these things. Hi. You are welcome to week 5 of the home care assistant program, and this we are still looking at the topic human growth and development. And today this week we are going to look at adulthood, and we're also going to look at some of the changes that do occur when one grows, when one becomes old. So these are the two main things that we are going to look at this week. I hope and I believe strongly that you are going to enjoy this week's lecture. Adulthood actually signals that time in an individual's life when choice and more control over one's life typically occur. So now in adults, when you become adult, you end up managing your own things, your own affairs, and your choices, and you have full control over your life. And it's often thought as having distinct stages, even though it's right from 18 years up to death, you are seen as an adult. But we have some distinct stages. So we have young adults, we have mature adults, we have older adults, and we have the elderly. So young adults ranges from the age of 18 to 25, where the child has just entered or entered tertiary, and they might end up getting unemployment at this very level. Mature adults, 25-50 years, most people end up marrying at this stage. They start a family, and they work on their career too. And older age, 55 to 75 years, and retirement end up your children. Retirement occurs around this age time. Your children also leave you around this time. By the time you even get 55 years, none of your children may be with you. You end up being with your spouse alone. And within this time to 55 to 75 years, you may be planning for your death, if not. And the skin becomes dry and often scaly because of decreasing. Sebum is an oil being produced by the skin. That makes the skin surface oily. And sweat glands also becomes less active. Sweat glands also become less active. So the skin becomes so dry. So normally you want to smear moisturizer on their skin instead of the normal lotion or a Vaseline based cream. It helps them a lot. The hair follicles stop functioning or produce thinner fine hairs. Their hair becomes thin and fine, so thin, very thin, and these hairs become gray or white. Their heads start becoming gray or white. And the aged, they start developing wrinkles. They start having wrinkles on their face and on their skin. Their smooth skin now become wrinkles. And skin repairs proceed relatively lower. So, and recurring skin infections normally occur for them. So as you grow, these are some of the few changes that happen to your skin. Let's look at the skeletal system. The bones of the skeleton become thinner and relatively weaker, so they are more likely to have fracture. So you don't want them to fall at all. And there is a reduction in calcium that leads to decreased bone mass. There are more bone mass, and older people may be frail and have brittle bones. Older people may have brittle bones, and once we reach the age of 30, bone marrow gradually starts to disappear from the bones in our arms and legs. Bone marrow is a soft, spongy tissue in the center of the large bone that produces white blood cells red blood cells and platelets. So as these things are disappearing, you see that it will affect the production of these cells in the blood. Affect the production of these cells in the blood. So one thing that you also have to look at, you have to take notice that you don't want your aged patient to fall or something, because they already have weaker bones, and it's going to cause fracture. And it also heal when they have fracture. It takes a very long time for them to recover. So please, you don't want them to have fracture. Then let's look at the muscular system. There's a reduction in muscle strength and endurance and tendency to endurance and the tendency to fatigue rapidly. Muscle strength reduces, and the skeletal muscle become smaller and less elastic. And they are not able to tolerate more exercise. So their tolerance for exercise actually decreases, and ability to recover from muscle injuries also decreases. The ability to recover from muscle injuries also decreases. So a lot of changes do happen in the age. These are some of the few ones that we are talking about. The nervous system, their brain size and weight. There's a reduction in brain size and weight. Their brain reduces, their size reduces. They start having diseases like Alzheimer's disease and other, which causes dementia, which is a disease that affects the brain. We'll talk more about it into details. And a decrease in blood flow to the brain also decreases. Blood flow to the brain also decreases. So makes them prone to quite a lot of diseases. Let's look at the endocrine system. Then there is a decline in the concentration of reproductive hormones. So these hormones, last time we talked about, we said this is what makes us females and this is what makes us males. So if there's a reduction in it, actually when one grows, you return back. Children, whether male or female, are very difficult to distinguish between if they are before adolescence. The same way, when the more you grow, the more the male and the female gender resembles each other. The more the male and the female resembles each other. Reproductive hormones decreases dramatically. So those secretory hormones may remain within normal limits. Some tissue become less responsive to stimulation. So they start having these like diabetes, because insulin, the tissues that are usually stimulated by insulin may not be functioning or may be less sensitive, so may end up getting diabetes at the end of the day and some other diseases. So this week we talked about adulthood and what the caregiver should do in helping those who are challenged, or who are challenged either physically, mentally, and also we talk about aging. What are some of the changes you should expect as one is getting old? Your questions, your contributions are welcome. Your questions and contributions are welcome. This week, all the two slides were put together. Lecture 1 and lecture 2 were all put together. So you meet and we will now talk about care. How care is supposed to be done when we get to week 6. That is next week. We're going to introduce ourselves to care. Now we've now talked about quite a lot of things. We've talked about home care, introduced ourselves to home care. We've introduced some of the ethics. We talked about some of the signs of human body. We look at growth. We look at human growth, and we also look at some of the changes that occur when one grows. Now we are going to start some of the things that we are going to be doing on the field actually. These are some of the things that are going to inform. What we've learned are things that are going to inform your care. But now from week 6, that's next week, we are going to look at some of the things that we are going to do on the field personally. So I know that you are going to enjoy it just as you've been enjoying the previous slide. Thank you very much.